And the Rohingya crisis is getting an airing at the United Nations. Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina blamed Myanmar for failing to take back the hundreds of thousands of Rohingya who have sought refuge in her country. Myanmar is due to address the General Assembly soon. CGTN's Liling reports from the United Nations.
Cox's Bazar, Bangladesh. This is the largest refugee camp in the world, occupied by Rohingya Muslims who escaped violence in Myanmar in a mass exodus that began in August 2017. The violence shocked the world then, but after 2 years, has the world forgotten them?
I think sadly Myanmar is in a category of crises along with Syria, where frankly there is such global fatigue that no one really wants to talk about them anymore.
Rights groups say it demands more attention.
At one level, there's a massive humanitarian crisis, largest refugee camp in the world. And I think more support needs to be given to Bangladesh to deal with that crisis. A poor country which has taken in an extra 750,000 people from across its borders.
The security situation has prevented refugees from returning home.
Of course, the UN Security Council could do a lot more. They should name the nature of the crime, first of all, genocide, perpetrated against the Rohingya, and they should start to try and hold the perpetrators accountable, whether that be via targeted sanctions or by referring it to the International Criminal Court for prosecution.
Meanwhile, UN-appointed human rights investigators and experts warn that violence against the Rohingya in Rakhine State continues and includes the involvement of the country's military.
The violence in Rakhine is escalating, and there are credible reports of Rakhine men being tortured and dying in custody, and Rakhine villages being burned. The Rohingya who are still in Rakhine remain confined to camps in central Rakhine, or within the few Rohingya villages are left in northern Rakhine.
Inaction from the United Nations Security Council has come under heavy criticism.
I think that it is very difficult for UN officials on the ground in Myanmar to do very much when the Security Council is deeply divided over how to deal with the country. The Chinese, the British and the Americans in the Security Council have decided to avoid big diplomatic confrontations. Instead, they're focusing more on the humanitarian plight of the refugees, but that may not be enough in the long term.
On the security front, several parties, including the United States and the European Union, have already imposed sanctions on Myanmar. On the humanitarian front, here on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly high-level debates this week, Myanmar, Bangladesh and China have agreed to a three-party plan to examine and explore a repatriation process for the Rohingya. I'm Liling for CGTN at the United Nations.